Okay. Hello's internet. It's Mayo here, along with Mr. Baggins. Due to some technical difficulties, we lost a good chunk of our video from before, which you're not going to see. But you don't need to worry about that, because we have a brand spanking new video going right now. As you see, Jeffrey
That's right, we're gonna make it right now.
is running away from mosquitoes, as is his nature.
Oh, Jesus! Help me!
You can use your special attack now, Jeffrey, by the way. Hold control and...
I don't know how to do that.
Hold control and then pop it. Pop it like it's hot. You can choose your
Hold
special.
control and what?
Hold control and you'll see your specials. There you go.
Alright, I hope this one is good. Oh, yeah! Dude, it's like a demonic zebra, not a zebra, antlered Stegosaurus lightning lion. Oh, look at that. It did nothing.
It's good that you mentioned that, because the photon blasts are supposed to be a bit more effective in PSO2, or so I've seen so far.
Well, it better be, man. You get all that.
Yeah.
It takes like 10 million years to build up your meter, and then it does nothing to the mosquitoes.
Well, it's
I
supposed
should've
to
saved
only
it for
attack
Bob
one
or
enemy.
something.
That one PSO or photon blast uses.
Oh, why'd you have me use it on the mosquitoes, man?
It's too late now, dude. Anyways.
Too late now, he says.
My character is Natsuki,
I'm so mad.
the very ladylike
Freaking weeaboo over
Robo
here.
Girl, and my Mr. Friend Baggins over here is battling out in Boo Googly, a rather racist, if not hilarious character.
How is Boo Googly racist?
I don't know, but I'm about to pop out a giant snake, so brace yourself.
Hero can suck it. Ooh, what is that?
It's a snake, and this thing's about to rape the monkey. Oh wait, no, maybe not. Ooh, time to back up.
Dude, oh jeez.
I about died there, but anyways. We're playing some PSO in case you're curious. Curioso. Little tidbit if you're not aware. PSO 2 should be released fairly soon. So I guess we're kind of like a celebratory final dash to the finish line. Even though it's not going to be released for probably another couple months. And that's just inside
Hey
Japan.
man. So much celebration.
Right. I was gonna say, Jeffrey, you might want to sell your items unless you want to be full up once you beat the dragon.
Oh man, I haven't fought this dragon in years.
Well, it's pretty simple.
Okay. Yeah. Such an urban beat. I can like get down to this, man.
I know, right?
I'm in my element. What? Yeep. Yeah. Oh.
Now, one thing about PSO2 that's garnering a bit of attention is the fact it's going to be free to play. Now, a lot of people are not too terribly keen on this idea, and with good reason. Free-to-play games generally have a bad reputation for being a sink for bad communities. Now, again, this isn't the rule. It's a trope, I guess you'd say, or a stay in online gaming society. But by no means a rule.
Here's the thing, as I said in the last video attempt, freaking, in this day and age, a smart game player can pretty much pick and choose the kind of people he's going to play with. There are clans. What if he has some friends that are playing the game? Different server types that certain kinds of players like to hang out in. I mean, there's just... Yeah, if you want to play with the pubs, then go ahead, but
if
if you're gonna be mad, if you're playing with pubs though, when you have plenty of other options, and then you're gonna be mad about the community, then it's kind of your own fault, man. That's my opinion.
Well, I understand where you're coming from. I agree completely, but you have to understand at the same time the community is what makes the game. So if the majority of the community are derps, then you're looking at a game that's not going to do well. At least in online gaming, because online games are built around the community.
I don't know, man. Look at Spiral Knights.
Well, that's...
I know we mentioned that one a few times before, but I mean,
it is a good example.
I would say the average player on that is pretty darn derpy, but it's still a successful game.
Well, it's
obviously
a fun
people
game.
Still play it. Well, isn't that the point? I mean, look at your average Xbox Live community. It's a bunch of racist 15-year-olds, but it's still the most popular online platform right now.
Let me get that pipe up for you. God.
It's the quality of the game, in my opinion, that'll keep people coming back. You know?
Well, we're not worried about the quality of the game. Like I said, I'm worried about the quality of the people playing the game. And like by and large, like you mentioned before, you can choose who you play with. But at the same time,
well,
the community has a big impact on how the game is portrayed in the mass media.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, in my opinion, just from discussions I've watched on things like 4chan and stuff, it's very rare for a game to have such a bad community that's something people bring up about a game. Now, it does happen, but you have to have a very bad community for it to actually garner a reputation based on that.
Case in point, Maple Story. But continue.
Now, that is something that scares me, though, just a little bit, since you mentioned that. Phantasy Star Online, probably a lot of people that were fans of the first game will switch over to play Part 2 to test it out. Now,
you keep saying Part 2, just so you know, it is PSO2, not Part 2. Just let you know.
Okay, PSO2, whatever. Sorry, I have a habit of calling sequels Part 2. I thought that was pretty acceptable in society, Nelson.
I'm sorry. By the way, get down here. I'm all alone on Rhaegal with wild dragons.
I was still at the bank. I was talking. Okay, hold on. I'm coming.
I bet you are.
Thing is, a lot of people that will be interested in this game are probably weeaboos. So you're going to hear a lot of, oh, kawaii desu, with the little
you get weeaboos in any community. But you're correct. There should be a large influx of them. I think there will be a rather large concentration. We just said the same thing. Yeah, I think there will be a large concentration. I eat Maple Stories, That's like, that's why I said that. Central.
Yes. And, I don't know, dude. It kind of scares me.
Well, now there's the chance the community will be bad, and of course there's also the chance the community will be great. Since PSO is generally a game played with about maybe 4 people at the max, of course I think for PSO 2 they're going to have bigger parties. You're not going to have a whole bunch of people running around all at once, save in the lobbies. But
so that's a good thing. You can kind of like find some people that you like to play with. Go to a forum, go to a PSO2 forum and find some users you like. And honestly, my favorite way to play a game though is just with one good friend that I like. Usually my favorite format is doing co-op with one guy.
I see what you're trying to say there, bro.
So, I mean, to me, it's not an issue. I don't really care what the community will be
like.
By
the way, attack the dragon's head for massive damage.
Alright. I'm coming.
Using a Dragon Slayer on a dragon, I couldn't have asked for a better setup.
Does it do enhanced damage to the dragon?
I don't think so. It's just Dragon Slayer.
It just happens to be the name of the sword.
I think that's the name of the sword. I hope I'm right. There's about 1,000 comments to be raining down on me if I'm wrong. Oh, no, it is indeed Dragon Slayer.
Kind of stating the obvious here, but it totally looks like a variant of Soul Calibur.
Indeed it does.
Got the little eye glowing down there, and, kind of neat. The Japanese have a thing about weapons with eyes in them, apparently.
White. Now, a game we have mentioned a lot in reference to when it comes to skill-based gameplay is Spiral Knights, and with good reason. It's published by Sega, so it's kind of like, I guess you could call a cousin of PSO in a way. Kind of, sort of.
For sure. They're very similar games, and there are, of course, obvious differences, like the biggest being the graphical representation. Spiral Knights is a top-down, i.e. old-school Zelda-style game. Yeah! You did most of the work, my character's kind of weak. Oh, hey, I leveled up. Huh, that's great. I'm totally gonna, like, take all the prizes now. Second.
Go ahead. But
Dude, it's like money.
quite. But as you're mentioning in Spiral Knights, skill-based gameplay, or more specifically, or what tangent were you getting off on?
I don't remember.
It's okay. I'll go ahead and talk for us for a bit. Well, akin to PSO, really, like I said, the skill-based gameplay, or more efficiently to say, you, the player, are responsible more than the numbers behind the character you're playing as. So, while perhaps you may not be Jeffrey falling down the lava over here, while you may not be perhaps as, say, strong as another character stat-wise, being able to maneuver through the game and control your character efficiently, you can survive situations that, well, other non-skilled players just wouldn't be able to do. And
yes,
that differentiation of skill...
There have been plenty of
right.
You actually get rewarded for playing the game in more ways than just leveling up. If you play the game and actually become better at, manipulating your character, then you'll see the exact same kind of high returns that you would as getting stronger stats. And if you get stronger stats and get better at the game, then it's like double prizes.
Indeed.
Because, there have been plenty of times where I was playing a game like this, or, once again, Spiral Knights. I like to think of it as kind of, like you said, a cousin, where you're playing with a character that, you think is going to be really helpful because they've got all this really good gear, and you eventually end up asking yourself how they even got that gear, because when you actually see them fight, they're more of a liability because they suck. And, I think a game like that is preferable to me, at least, where there's a bit of actual hand-eye coordination skill involved in playing the game, as opposed to just, trying to plan out your attacks in the correct order and doing the math right. So that gets boring after a while, in my opinion. A case in point, that's kind of ironic for me to say that since I am such a Pokemon fan, but, everything has its place.
Indeed. Now, I will reference another thing in our previous video, which of course won't be airing due to some technical difficulties, and that was, of course, Monster Hunter. Very skill-based game, as I'm sure you will agree with, I would say.
Oh, of course. Anybody who's played that game knows that it can be punishingly hard if you're not good at it. But some have criticized the game due to clunky controls, but I wouldn't call it clunky so much as I would methodical or mechanical. You have to, get into a rhythm. You can't just... So many games now... Oh, where'd you go, by the way? Forest 1, Cave 1, what's up?
Cave 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Should be a slight jump in difficulty, but we'll be alright.
Yeah. But it's... You just have to be... Oh crap, I lost my train of thought trying to figure out where to go. Shoot.
This place is maze-like, so be careful.
Alright.
You were talking about Monster Hunter being very skill-based, or more specifically, how the controls are what some would call clunky, but they're more akin to being, well, it's kind of hard to explain it. I played the game myself, I understand your meaning. It's, like you said, a rhythm game, almost akin to DDR in a way, although not at all.
Akin to it, but completely unlike it.
Right.
I like it. Oh yeah, I agree with you. Because just like in this game, and from what I've seen in trailers, just like PSO2, performing attacks locks you into an attack animation. And so different weapons have different attack speeds, different attack range, different properties. And when you're surrounded by enemies and in either open or confined spaces, it all comes down to, even though it is a real-time action game, it is almost turn-based in a way, because if you're attacking when you have to think about it in a turn-based mindset, because when you're doing your maneuver, you're like, okay, this is the time period that I have where I can safely attack, and then if it's not during that phase, then just don't attack. Think of it as it's not your turn, just try to run away, you know? I don't know if I'm phrasing that correctly, but otherwise, if you try to play a game like you would, say, like a strict beat-em-up like God of War or something, well, nothing against that game, but I mean, if you just try and attack, you are going to die. It's more punishing.
Of course, I like a game that rewards me for making smart decisions and does indeed punish me for making stupid ones. Of course,
exactly.
Another good example of this, I think you're familiar with, be Demon Souls, and Dark Souls, or whichever one you played.
I've not actually played Dark Souls, but I have played. I haven't played Demon Souls, but I have played Dark Souls, and it's actually, you mentioned that right before I was going to mention it, so it's kind of neat. That is an extreme example. It's almost kind of a genre in and of itself. I would say things like Monster Hunter, Dark Souls / Demon Souls, even something like Shadow of the Colossus, and Phantasy Star Online, real-time games where very specific timing is required for success. A lot of people say, oh, it's too hard, but in reality, they're playing the game like it's a regular action game, when it's not. It's an action RPG. And so, even though it has moved past turn-based, that still influences it, in my opinion. Case point, in Dark Souls, you can't treat it like it's a hack and slash. It feels like a hack and slash, but it's really not. You have to methodically plan your way through every enemy. Every enemy is capable of murdering you if you're not good at the game. Even the stuff you encounter at the beginning, fighting more than one of some of the most basic enemies can still be very deadly, even as you approach high levels. So you never can. A problem with games these days, in my opinion, is that they're too easy. And you can literally just let your guard down and not be careful about anything and know that you're not going to die. Because developers just make them in such a way where anyone can win. And I think that's a bad thing. You know? There's no reward, in my opinion, for winning. No satisfaction. There's no satisfaction in winning.
Well, there's a satisfaction, but it's a rather hollow one. I guess, dare I say, casual audience it's catered to.
Yes, I would agree with you there. For instance, let's look back in time here. Let's think about the NES. The games were shorter, but not really. There were less levels, less things to do, but it was a lot harder, and oh my god, when you finally won...
Let me go ahead and pause this video, and we'll continue in part 2, which should take place hopefully right after this one. And we'll be back ASAP, guys.
Alright.
Herpy derpy.